Chats from sunny Manhattan and live. I'm Marion Forestier, Director of Communications of Atout France, the France Tourism Development Agency. And next to me in sunny Brooklyn is Kate Schwab, our Media Relations Manager. So, hi, Kate. Can you tell our guests a little bit about what to expect from future live fireside chats?
Sure. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're so glad that you could join us for the launch of our fireside chats. We can't quite bring you to France yet, but we're trying everything we can to bring France to you. So the idea behind the fireside chats is that we're going to bring intriguing people to come to France, intriguing people from France, whether that's Americans who own a chateau, maybe that's a young chef who's really creative. And so for today's edition, we're going to do something a little bit different, but that's the general idea behind our France Live Fireside Chats.
Okay, well, thanks, Kate. So for our inaugural event, we thought it would be fitting to begin with some significant news. So we're bringing you live to the chic seaside resort of Deauville in Normandy. It's the Atlantic coast's answer to the town of Cannes on the Mediterranean's French Riviera. Deauville, as you are well aware, is known for its beaches and boardwalks, horse racing and breeding, great golf, and chic hotels, and it is home to the American Film Festival, which takes place every September. And it's just over 2 hours by car and around 2 hours and 40 minutes by train from Paris. So soon, Deauville will welcome Les Franciscaines, a new major cultural center and museum of note, housed in repurposed 19th century buildings and cloisters previously owned and used by Deauville's Franciscan nuns. But before I introduce you to our guest speaker and guide to Deauville and Les Franciscaines, a brief word on the COVID situation in France. I'm certain that you are aware of what's going on in France and in Europe. Things are not stellar, to say the least, and Friday, March 19 at midnight, Paris, the Paris region, and parts of northern France went into lockdown. And this Friday, Lyon and parts of the Rhone also went into lockdown. What's going on nationwide? Well, cultural venues like museums, restaurants, cafes, and bars are still closed until further notice. But not all is doom and gloom. The good news is that the European Union is working on deploying a vaccination passport for EU residents that we hope, of course, will be extended and expanded to non-EU countries and to the United States in particular. Also, towns and cities have forged ahead to complete new and innovative projects like Les Franciscaines in Deauville. So today we'll start with Deauville, and we'd like to introduce Fanny, Hubart, Salmon, who is a Deauville resident and international reporter for equestrian events. She joins us live from Les Franciscaines. Hi, Fanny, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us in the beautiful, sunny Deauville.
Yes, exactly. And so, thank you. And I hear that you also live in Lexington, Kentucky. So I'd like to know how you split your time between the two, and how long also have you lived in Deauville?
Well, my mother was born right here in Deauville. My grandparents came when they were 1 year old in 1923. So I guess you could say I belonged here before I was born. I went to Lexington, Kentucky as part of the exchanges. Deauville and Lexington are sister cities. They've been sister cities since 1957. So I went to study there and never completely left.
Uh,
I spent spring and fall over there covering horse racing, but also doing research on historical and cultural projects. And I
uh,
spent the rest of the time here in France.
Very cool. And what do you like most about your hometown, Deauville?
I like how it's open and how easy it is to meet people, the depth of experiences, both on the human and cultural level. And don't even get me started on the food, the cheese, particularly in this region.
Okay. Well, yeah, no, don't get us started either because we really would like to be there. But anyway, so thank you, Fanny. So we'll start by showing all of you a brief video that Fanny recently shot to introduce you to the sights and sounds of Deauville. We decided to do it that way because, if this one's not live, as to avoid wind sounds and other distracting live issues. Then we're going to get into the heart of the matter, and Fanny will give us a live tour of Les Franciscaines, which was poised to open a few days ago, but the opening was postponed to mid-May. Hopefully that will stand. And at the end of the tour, which will last about 35 minutes, we will have a Q&A, but you're welcome to post your questions or comments during our visit of Les Franciscaines. And Kate will be fielding and asking your questions to Fanny. So let's get the show on the road with Fanny's video.
In the heart of Normandy, on the way to the mesmerizing Mont Saint-Michel and the D-Day landing sites, Deauville is one of France's favorite destinations. Welcome. I'm Fanny, and I'll be your guide. Let's go. We're on Deauville's iconic boardwalk, parallel to the sea, walking along what you could dub our Sunset Boulevard, with the names of movie stars painted along the cabanas to commemorate their visit to town. This white sand beach has inspired artists and attracted tourists since the creation of the city in 1860. You may also spot horses. They're everywhere in town. From leisure rides on the beach to the Longines Deauville International Horse Bowl, every equestrian aspiration is met. The city has not one but two racecourses. At the charming Clairefontaine, horses run on the flat, over jumps, and even trot on the turf. Here at Deauville-Latouk, it's flat racing only. This famous straight course stretches for over a mile. It attracts competitors from around the globe. In the middle of the racecourse are the polo grounds, hosting the Barrière Deauville Polo Cup every summer. This is a Strasburger villa. This jewel of Anglo-Norman architecture is named after the family who last owned it and donated it to the city. Hundreds of villas from the late 19th, early 20th century have been preserved, giving the resort the feel of an open-air museum. There's also serious shopping here, with 400 boutiques across town. We're now at the yacht harbor across from the train station. Sailing is one of the key outdoor activities with golf and tennis, but there are many other options to enjoy. Deauville's best-known cultural event, the American Film Festival, celebrates the best from Hollywood and the indie film industry. It is one of the few film festivals to remain open to the public. Screenings and tributes take place right here in the impressive auditorium of Deauville's International Center. There's so much happening all year round in Deauville in terms of arts and culture. Come see us. We look forward to welcoming you.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Fanny. That was wonderful. I mean, I think everybody wants to be there right now, tout de suite. But since we can't, so now the floor is completely yours at Les Franciscaines.
Well, thank you very much, Marion. We wanted to show you, just before going in, the outside of Les Franciscaines, including his brand new modern highway. It can be seen from very far away and signify a change in the venue because, as Marion mentioned earlier on, this used to be a convent It was also an orphanage. It was a hospital at times, and a vocational school. But for a long time, this place was not exactly open to the public. It's now become the city's cultural center. So the architect wanted to make sure that the inhabitants of Deauville and the visitors could get a message from far away. So this is our high gate with a digital screen, which will soon be filled with interesting information and art. And we're going to be careful stepping in. Merci, Alain. And we're going to meet Karen Clémençat. She is the director of Les Franciscaines. Just after, I'm going to be safe, of course, and wash my hands. Here we have Nathalie and Laurent welcoming us. So Caroline has been overseeing, she's the director of Les Franciscaines, and she's been overseeing every step of the transformation of the space. Caroline, thank you for having us.
Hello, Fanny.
Can you tell us what was at the heart, the ambition at the heart of the renovation of the Franciscaines?
Fanny, the ambition at the heart of the project was to combine a museum, a library, and a show venue. We imagined a new place which combines exhibition, reading, and screening room. We want to create a place to meet where culture brings people together.
And this was magnificently done. We're going to maybe meet Caroline again at the end of the visit for the Q&A, but before we get into the next, I wanted to show you the grand gallery. Digital and interaction are two key words you will hear a lot during this visit. Now let's walk into the cloître, the cloister. This used to be the garden where the nuns could enjoy. Of course, it's been covered so that we can stay in. It's now a reading room. I want you to take a look all the way up to the Grand Chandelier. It was inspired to the architect by the ever-changing Norman skies. It's made of 14,000 tubes of plexiglass. And although it's not turned on just now because we are during the day, it still reflects the rays of light. It really brings a warm atmosphere to this space, which is now a reading room. That's where you can come and look at magazines, both local and international. Art magazine, you can come here to meet and chat with people. And it's also where the crowd gets together before entering the auditorium for live performances. And that's the next thing we want to show you, the auditorium. Let's see how the chapel that the nuns used for masses has been transformed. Here is the grid. That's frame truss, which is going up with the lighting and the sound system. You can see if you look all the way up, the mix of technical equipment, but also the stained glass windows. They are chronicling the life of St. Francis. St. Francis was very important to this place because the nuns were of the St. Franciscan order. And I am now sitting in the stands where 230 people will be able to assemble to watch plays, dance recitals, concerts, musical readings, you name it. Actually, these are retractable stands, which means that the scene can be adapted to the needs. If you want a more cozy atmosphere, a more intimate, you can definitely work this out. We cannot, unfortunately, retract them right now. The whole process takes about an hour. But I will let you imagine what this room would look like without the stands and how it can accommodate up to 400 people for private events, cocktails, or receptions. That's another of the options that we can do here. Host people both in this space and in the cloister. And you will see books are everywhere in every nook of this space. These are the original walls from the 19th century. The building was founded by two sisters here in Deauville, the Merigot sisters, and the nuns actually moved into this space in 1875. If you can hear me well enough, I'll try and be as loud as I can. And let me know if I'm going too fast. We're moving into the space where the nuns used to assemble for their meals. And this is where I spotted whole sections with books in English. Now, this is still a place where you can eat, although it's it's been revamped. So it's a connected canteen. Anthony, bonjour. Anthony and Penelope are in charge of this space. And Charlotte works for the library. Bonjour. Hello.
Bonjour.
There are all around the walls, you have novels, 4,500 of them. This space is a connected canteen where you can come and have lunch. You can have snacks all day. It really changes depending, as most places in the Franciscaines, according to the needs. So on Sunday, you can come and have brunch with your family. And when there's a show, you have the possibility of meeting with friends and exchange with the artist around food and drinks.
Huh.
I'm taking you. You have a question, maybe?
We do have a question, and that question is from Linda, who wants to know if there's a virtual video tour that she could share with her students. She teaches a cultural heritage tourism course. I don't know if you guys have a virtual video tour set up yet, but is that something you might have?
Well, we're doing one right now, but I think in addition to this experience, that's a really good idea to continue. Now, please forgive this work in progress. We're taking you a preview of what will be our first temporary exhibition on the roads to paradise. Many roads to paradise, because we don't have time to show you everything, and it's still in the works, but we want to show you one piece, a monumental piece, as a matter of fact, which came all the way from North America. It was shipped in times of COVID. It's called Eternity. It's a monumental undulating mirror, which reflects the shapes of the visitors, and at times causes us to reflect as well. It was made by the French-Canadian artist Nicolas Bayer. And one thing I didn't realize, although I had seen pictures of it and heard about it, was that, and you don't see it unless you're looking from all the way above, it actually spells eternity. So the plan is to have two temporary exhibitions every year in that space. So little time and so much to see, so much to show you. So we're not going to be able to spend too much time here, although I would love to. It's one of my favorite places. It's the shop, not just the museum shop. And here is Benoit, who runs it. It's the Franciscaine shop, and you have all kinds of books and gift books on horses, on art, on horses in art, on Normandy, you name it. Again, as I said, I'm sorry, we have to rush a little bit through here. And, you know, it's not the museum shop, it is actually the Franciscaine shop. Because as Caroline mentioned, we have three venues here, the library, the museum, and the show venue, but they all work together. We didn't exit the museum to walk into the library. And all the elements are combined to enhance the visitor's experience. So we're now moving to the permanent exhibit spaces, and they are organized around five themes that are absolutely integral to the identity of Deauville. The first one you're going to see is the memory of Deauville. I'm going to let you enjoy. So all the different spaces have their own set of colors, their own identity. One common element is these shelvings. We call it the thread of knowledge, where books are next to important paintings. This one by Courbet, for example. Another one by Corot. Painters loved our side of the English Channel. This one by Monet. Of course, we're only an hour and a half away from Giverny here. And, you know, I was telling you how everything intertwines. Catherine here is one of our cultural mediators. And, you know, basically you can pick up a book on painters and enjoy it right next to the work of art. Thank you very much.
Well, that is incredible.
Isn't it?
I mean,
Now,
to be so close to art in another space. I mean, you know, it's pretty incredible.
yes, and the collection actually, you know, shows Deauville, but also Normandy. We are the repository of an incredible collection called Paint in Normandy. That's 185 paintings by famous names such as Géricault, Renoir, Boudin, Monet, you name them, and even some that we can discover. And that's very interesting to see how it portrays Normandy. The exhibit is also meant to travel at times so that we can showcase the magic of Normandy all around the world. And we're going to meet with Gabrielle Lancelot, who's the head librarian here in Deauville. And she pulled out something very special for us, a very old book. I'm not even sure I can touch it. How old is this book? Il date de quand ce livre? 1666.
Un livre très rare d'Antoine de Pluvinel, qui est le maître écuyer des trois rois, Henri IV, Charles IX et le dauphin Louis XIII.
It's a very rare book written by Antoine de Pluvinel, who instructed not one but three future kings in the art of writing. If I'm remembering correctly, we're talking about Henry III, Charles IX, and Louis XIII. Thank you very much, Gwenaëlle. Gwenaëlle has become incredibly knowledgeable on the horses since she joined and built the collection here at Les Franciscaines. The horses are so important here that it was an ambition from the city to assemble a collection. And that collection is so rich and rare by its numbers that the French National Library has signed a series of partnerships and agreements. This is actually the reference library for the whole of France when it comes to horses. The equestrian collection is a reference library. We have a Dufy right here. Plenty of books, whether you are actually an avid rider or just want to find out, learn a little bit more Dufy here. Dufy was from Honfleur, not far from here. And he loved painting horses and painting Deauville. And we're going to move to the Masters Gallery, another one of our temporary exhibition spaces. And I'm going to let you enjoy the view onto the cloister. I'll meet you a little bit later on in our next universe. And as you may have guessed by the red, this is entertainment, and you've just seen Bérangère, who's the graphist here, also takes care of a lot of our social media. You can find at Les Franciscaines. Now, as you may have guessed, this space is dedicated to the art of entertainment, the artists, and all kinds of creation. Bonjour. We're going to meet, oh, I almost forgot. This is one of our many digital spaces where you can actually enjoy, explore the different collections with games, and you can even curate your own exhibit. Now we have Gustave Flaubert right here. Josephine Baker was also a frequent visitor to Deauville, as we're going to be able to discuss. We're going to meet Philippe Normand. Philippe is the head of the cultural programming here at Les Franciscaines. Philippe, can you tell us about how Deauville has inspired artists and encouraged the creation, artistic creation?
From the beginning, from the foundation of Deauville, all the main artists of the 20th century came in Deauville, from Sarah Bernard until Arthur Rubinstein, Nijinsky, Isadora Duncan, Andy Warhol, you can see here. And a lot of American artists came in Deauville because we created in Deauville in 75 the first American Film Festival. And with the cinema and the movie star, we have also the dance main artist and the main dance music artist, always today.
And there will be year-round programming here at Les Franciscaines, as we mentioned in the auditorium, plays, concerts. A lot of them will be connected to some of the themes developed here in Franciscaines. Now, this is another one of my favorite spaces. Many fun spaces. You can just stop here and stream a movie. You can pick one of 10,000 DVDs. Actually, we also have noted some 170 films which were filmed in this area, in Deauville itself or the surrounding area. We are now moving into the Musée André Hambourg. Let's go first. The space is dedicated to the life and work of a very prolific writer. This is Clément Ador, registrar of the museum, who's installed everything. Now, André Hambourg, as I said, an extremely prolific writer, painter of the 20th century, figurative painter. He was a painter of the fleet, which meant he traveled a lot. And in this space, you will find his art as well as that of his friends who were inspired and exchanged a lot. And this is a typical example. On the right, you have a painting by André Hambourg, the woman with the parrot. And on my left, a painting by his friend, Fujita, the Japanese painter.
So how many paintings are in the Hambourg Museum?
Well, there are thousands of paintings from André Hambourg. Actually, his widow, Nicole Hambourg, approached the city in 2011. She was interested in sharing her husband's work and with the wider public, and was.
Oh, wait a minute. I think we lost. Wait. We lost the sound. Hello. So I think we have a little technical problem, and that I hope we will soon resolve. Kate?
Yes, it looks like we've lost Fanny temporarily, so hopefully she'll be able to rejoin us shortly.
Yeah, the joys of live events.
Exactly. I know we did have some questions that are coming up so that we can try to answer specifically. I know that, is that them coming back?
Is he coming? So
I know Linda was asking about literary tourism in Deauville. I don't know. We'll ask Fanny whether there's particular. Oh, there she is. We'll let her.
There she is. Wait, we
Sorry
still
for
can't.
This short interruption.
Oh. So we'll ask the question
for some
later.
Reason,
Go ahead.
We rehearsed it several times. Yeah. For some reason, we rehearsed it several times and never had an issue. And just when you're live is when things happen. So I was just telling you that in addition to the thousands of paintings collected by the young couple, including some of their friends like Marie-Laurencin or Fujita, there are also some loans by different museums in France and elsewhere to complement some of the themes in the collections to come. Moving on to the youth zone now. That's an important commitment by the city of Deauville, encouraging reading, promoting playing. We have thousands of games, and facilitating the access to knowledge as well as the access to new tools. There's a Fab Lab, for example, and that Fab Lab is for every public, not just the young. We have workshops and classes for every age. If you want to learn 3D printing, laser cutting, if you want to learn how to code robots, it's also available for entrepreneurs who want to prototype their invention or their project. And here we're going to meet with Caroline again in our last universe, the Art de Vivre, as we say in French, lifestyle. These we didn't have time to show you the Fab Lab, so we're just showing you some of the elements. The first one is an ancestor of chess game built there, and these are some of the robots used to learn how to code. And here we are back, ready for your questions.
Okay, well, thank you very much. It's a wonderful tour, and so, Kate, do we have any questions, or?
We do. I think the first question is a general question about Deauville and equestrian travel. And Fanny, people would love to know, if a visitor wants to go horseback riding in Deauville, are there several opportunities that the public can take advantage of?
Yes, there are several opportunities to go horseback riding. One of the major ones is in the Deauville Longines International Equestrian Center, which is here in Deauville, and you can learn or enjoy riding. They can, if you've already ridden, they can take you for a ride on the beach, which is always fun. You can even learn how to play polo, the basics of polo. So there are many things you can do with horses in this area.
Fantastic. And then just a question as well about literary tourism. Now, if they want to know, Linda wants to know if Deauville is known for any particular literary figures. Now, we know that the region of Normandy overall is the birthplace of Gustave Flaubert, and this year is the 250th anniversary of his birth. Is there anyone specific to Deauville in the literary field?
Well, you just mentioned Gustave Flaubert, and I didn't have time in that very short video to mention it, but the Strasbourger Villa that you saw in the video, that beautiful villa, was actually built on land that belonged to Flaubert's family. And people say that he came and spent time here in Deauville, and that's where he probably wrote the Éducation sentimentale, the sentimental education.
Oh, okay, so we see that.
Other famous writers include Joseph Kessel. Joseph Kessel came here on a regular basis and said this was the best place to come and be inspired. Apollinaire, the poet. Thank you, Caroline. Françoise Sagan.
Françoise Sagan.
Played at the casino. Yes, she was
so Saint-Tropez was not her only. Saint-Tropez was not her only. How would you say? Well, whatever. Anyways, bon.
No, she actually loved it here because she loved horses as well. She actually owned race horses and had some run here at the racecourse, local racecourse. And she won at the casino one night and ended up buying a villa in the area.
Oh my God! Oh,
wow.
Okay. Well, there are a lot of people who know how to live by having something at Deauville. I mean, and then there are other celebrities, right?
Speaking of celebrities, Thomas wanted to know if there are any pictures. Sorry, Thomas wanted to know if there are any pictures of Josephine Baker visiting Deauville. I know you mentioned her earlier.
Yes, Josephine Baker. There are many pictures of her here. The one that comes to mind, and Caroline is probably nodding, the one with her panther on the boardwalk, where she's walking, leading her panther on the boardwalk. She was one of many African Americans who loved life in France and made a home here. And she came and performed here on many occasions. There's actually also an African American jockey who won the Grand Prix de Deauville after he and his fellow African American jockeys could not ride in America anymore.
Well, okay. Can you tell us? Do you remember his name or? Sorry. To put you on the spot there.
No. Of course. Actually, James Winkle.
Oh, okay. Well, there we are. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
Those are all the questions we have from our visitors as of now. But Marion, did you have any questions that you wanted to ask?
That's all the questions we have.
I mean, if there are no more questions for the time being?
We just got one. Michael wants to know about the beach season. What's the beach culture like, and how long is the season?
The beach season, that's a good question. It used to be, growing up, it used to be only in the summer, but now it's pretty much year round. Um, you can't really bathe all year round, although we have a tradition here on the first of the year. People go, the really courageous ones go and bathe. But usually the swim season, when you actually have people monitoring the beach, is April to October. That would be probably it. But really, you can stroll on the beach all year round. And as I said, some people even swim all year round. I wouldn't.
Right. Well, yeah, but I guess there's a Deauville section of the Polar Bear Club, I can say, because we have that too. People just jumping in the 1st of January or something. Also here in the United States or in New York, out on Long Island, wham! That's very cool. Can you tell us
here in Deauville? We didn't mention it, but sports with the triathlon. We also the marathon, golfing, as you saw in the video. But there's also training camps where international teams, actually the world champion American team, had its back base right here during the last World Cup.
Ah, okay. Cool. Very cool. So, Kate, do we have any more questions?
Not at the moment. One last question. We have a question from Laura, who wants to know about the culinary scene. Are there particular foods or dishes that are distinctive to Deauville?
Yes, the culinary scene. Before I forget, they would maybe be mad at me. We have two Michelin star restaurants right here in Deauville. There's even one across in Deauville. But the local foods, there's seafood, of course, with a famous fish market. The cheese, absolutely, and there's a local dessert. That's one of my favorite. Not everybody knows about it. It's called turgoule, and it's some kind of rice pudding with cinnamon. It's delicious.
Oh, okay.
It's actually the French word turgoule because people used to eat it so hot that it would twist their face, and turgoule means twisted face in Norman.
Okay.
Apples, of course.
Sounds delicious.
Cider, apple brandy, Calvados. Yes.
And
maybe
yes, of course.
If we can, I'd like to have a word with Caroline to mention, what Deauville has and how it's an incredible space to come and enjoy and maybe base yourself for your vacation.
I hope you and your readers will be inspired to visit us. Deauville is a very good place to discover Normandy, and Les Franciscaines is a very good place to discover the culture and keep learning and even plan the next steps of your visit.
Okay.
As we've seen with Catherine, for example, downstairs, the whole section of Deauville's memory has extensive guides, not just on the hill, but also on all the area. So you can, if you're so inspired, you can learn, enjoy the art, book a show, let your kids have fun in the youth section, and plan the next steps of your visit.
Okay. All right. Well, that's really great. I wanted to ask you a question, but maybe, but it was more a little bit to explain a little bit the chandelier in briefly, this huge thing in the cloister.
Yes, the chandelier, we call it grand lustre in French, but it's like a big cloud, and it was inspired to the architect. The architect is called Alain Moati. He's actually specialized in it's a very unique, it's a unique creation, and he's specializing in breathing life into old spaces. And when he saw this space, he knew that the roof would have to come. I mean, it would have to be covered, but he didn't want to lose the magic of the French sky, so he reinvented in a way.
Okay, thank you.
It's very heavy. I think I think I remembered it. I mean, it took a while to install it. It's lourd, and it's
Well,
got
it's
more than
very heavy.
14,000 tubes. Yeah.
Oh,
And
okay.
at night, the lighting is magical.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. They had to be sure that they had their mat together so that it doesn't collapse. I mean, there was a lot of thought that went into it.
Oh, yeah, that would be a problem. Well, listen, if there are no more questions, well, we'll close our first episode. I want to thank Fanny so much for doing this for us and to showing us, well, incredible Deauville and the incredible Franciscaines. And so if, we'll send you know, we hope that we go very soon to Deauville, and hope you and your readers will be able to as well. And we'll also send you the contact of Sandrine Chardon, who's the communications manager of the Deauville tourist office, known as In Deauville.
And we also have, sorry, Marion, we also have links to the Franciscaines press kit, as well as the Deauville Tourism Board as well. So we'll send all those contacts and information.
Yeah, no, definitely. We'll do a little roundup, and also maybe send the link to the recording of this to those who couldn't join us because of whatever. So listen, merci beaucoup, beaucoup, beaucoup. It's wonderful, and I'm sure everyone wants to come to Deauville.
I was in Deauville in 2019, and I can't wait to get back.
Okay, au revoir.
Well, we look forward to
À bientôt. Nous espérons. Okay, thank you very much. Bye.